Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subs and gratitude to anybody new. Welcome along. So, should Tim Tszyu get a new team? Now, this is a tough topic for me to cover, if I'm being totally honest, because I really don't like the thought of fighters losing and then just ditching their team. And not that he would throw them under the bus, but it does seem like a lot of times when a fighter loses, they get a new team, it's like we'll blame the training team, right? And I know there's been a lot of people that have been mentioning this too, not just on the comments on my video, and thanks to anybody that watched the post-fight video I made on Tszyu's loss to Background. We'll talk a bit more about that fight in this video. It might be a long video actually. Let's see how it goes. But reading online as well, it's come up a lot. It has. They've taken a lot of criticism, and it's not just this fight. It's the dealings with the Fondora fight and keeping him in there for that long. Has that had an effect on him? It's maybe, like to leave a fighter in there that long, bleeding like that psychologically, it can be detrimental, really, or it can certainly take years off your career. And if he keeps fighting the way he's fighting now, he will definitely take years off his career. As amazing and as admirable as his warrior spirit is, and it truly is, it's amongst the best, if not, he's got the toughest warrior spirit amongst the toughest. He's proven that. That's always going to be there. Now it's time to sharpen up the other little things, right? Obviously the game plan that he had, I spoke about that heavily. You do wonder what on earth the team were doing. And I know apparently I watched Pro Box TV and they said that Paulie mentioned that they were telling him to box and take it easy, but it should be before the fight. It should be drilled in. Look, take your time, because there was no time being taken at all. He tried to outman him. He underestimated him. I've spoken about it. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it was a foolish game plan, and he paid the price heavily. He's got himself to blame because, he really didn't fight like he normally fights, and it was a mystery, Well, a lot of people are saying, including myself, he wanted to make that statement. And he's in there and he's just like, bro, I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna beat you up. That's what the game plan was. Go out there and beat him up. But back to the coaching staff. You left him in there way too long, right? And the perfect thing to do. It's all good playing quarterback on the Monday morning, but when you have the rules of boxing, right? If you go past the fourth round, for anybody that doesn't know, then the fight goes to the points. But if you pull the fight before the fourth round, he keeps the belt. It's a no contest, right? You could pull him out. That would be the best thing to have done. Obviously, we're not there. We don't have a few minutes to make that massive decision. They believe in him, and a big part of why I think maybe it is time for a new change is because the warrior spirit is so drilled in. That becomes the code no matter what, right? Yeah, well, we're warriors. You can fight through this, but you've got to be a bit smarter in this game. Otherwise, as I said, you're going to massively take back you cut down your career by just being a warrior too much. You've got fighters like Tim Tszyu need saving from themselves. When I say saving, I just mean like, you need someone to step in if he's going to the gym full on. You need the trainer to be like, look, bro, take it easy. Take a day off, mate. Just relax. And he's the kind of fighter, guy, he's got a cut. I want to fight Ortiz with a cut, yeah. It's great. It's madness. I love it, though. Do you know what I mean? It's hard for me to I'm not criticizing it. I love a warrior spirit like that. If you watch this channel, a lot of my homing in on certain fighters is skills and absolute warriors, fighters with just that gladiator spirit. Subriel Matias, Bud Crawford's got both, really. He's not quite as warrior. I think he probably could go there. He's got that dog in him, we know that, but he's got skills too. Alexander Usyk, I don't make as many videos, but he's got that same ilk where he gets the best out of himself. This channel's about fighters that get the best out of themselves. for the most part. Regis Prograis used to make a lot of videos about him before he kind of started picking the wrong fights and getting. Not that I'd stopped watching him. I just started homing in on him because I'm like, wow, he really gets the best out of himself. Now his matchmaking hasn't been great, and he's been paying the price for it. But I'll do a Jack Catchall fight breakdown for that in a couple of days actually, because he's fighting this weekend. I've always loved Regis Prograis because of that, because he's a throwback fighter. Tim Tszyu is a throwback fighter, but for now, I think he needs to really think about actually getting another, at the very least, a new fresh eyes or fresh ideas, because he clearly needs to improve on a few things if he's going to keep going in with that mentality. And even if he didn't have that mentality, it would have been a tough fight if he'd have approached it normally. But I think he probably, if he'd have been patient, been poised and calculated, and taking his time, I think he probably would have edged out a points win, to be honest with you. Because but he was having issues with the size, even with his counter punching. If you noticed, there were a couple of times he tried to counter punch background.
But still on wobbly leg, and left hook drops him. He needs to stay down. He doesn't need to get back on the feet so fast.
He was hurt as well. And actually, very quickly, I'll get onto the training team quickly. I wanted to talk about, I know people are saying he's chinny and stuff like that. Maybe, he definitely doesn't have a great chin, that's for sure. But if you look how he took that shot, the first left hook, right? He's leaning over, right? So most of his weight is he doesn't have this, he's not grounded. So to take a left hook when you're off the center line like that, as you're coming in whilst you're punching, I mean, Backroom said he hit him with a tremendously massive shot, and he was very surprised that he was still hanging in there. So I think it's and he got up from that. Obviously, he was badly hurt, but that's a ginormous shot to take, and to call someone chinny like that. And I know he's been dropped a couple times before that. That's why I'm saying I don't think he's got a great chin, maybe not even a good chin. But I don't know. I'm not going to quite go out on the limb and say he's chinny, because that was a thunderous shot he took, with one leg basically off the ground, leaning to the side, so you don't have your balance under you, right? A big part of taking shots is this is the science. As I know, on the banner of my channel, it says boxing, art and science, and I'll try to do a bit more of bringing in science and art and as I go on, so people understand the channel. But from a scientific point of view, he doesn't have his weight under him, right? And if you don't have your weight under him, it's like getting pushed around, right? If I'm standing on one leg balancing to the side, you can just shove me off. Imagine taking a punch like that, a massive punch from Backram, who boom, he caught a massive hook with that. And it was just like, he still got up from it. So maybe his chin's not as bad as people think. But anyway, back to the team. So the thing for me is, because it is his family member, right? Igor is his uncle. The reason why I get a little tentative about making videos like this, and I feel for it, because the amount of work that they've done to get him where he's got, as well, it almost gets a little overlooked, and they get the blame for this and the blame for that. And not from everybody, but I just think, wow, he's reared him from a kid to become a world champion, and these are incredible achievements. But there is a time where the time comes where it's like, all right, uncle, man, it's going to be hard for him to be because he's so loyal, right? And that's a tough conversation. But I think you've got to want what's best for him. They've got to want what's best for him and understand that it's time to back off, because that warrior spirit all the time, it needs channeling. It needs channeling, because it's gonna shorten his career, as I keep saying, because he's the fighter that needs a bit of reining in. And that game plan, he needed reining in. And I said it in the last video. I was like, when he's hurt in that second and he comes out to the corner, you say, listen, bro, enough of this warrior stuff. You get to your boxing, you don't throw a single punch, smother him if you can, use your defense, because he does have good defense. A lot of people are really criticizing it, rightfully so, in that fight, but if he actually concentrates and sticks to his defense, it's superb. I really think that. And the first round, the first 2 minutes, where he was ducking and parrying, that was the defense I knew. And then he hit background, or some people were saying that the cut might have, or it wasn't. I thought it, something appeared, but I might have been mistaken. I could have sworn I saw a bit of blood, but maybe not. Maybe it was just a red part of the face. But either way, people thought he got like, oh, I need to end this now. I personally don't think it was that. I think, you know, the round one was going all right. It was quite entertaining, and he landed back. He buzzed Backram a little bit, backed him up with that right hand. He got buzzed a little bit, maybe from a right hand too. But I think something changed where he was just like, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna beat you up, and he just started backing him up even more, and it started going really wrong. And because like really his offense, when he leads with his offense, I don't think he's anywhere near as effective, especially when someone's not afraid, and especially when they can counterpunch. When he's leading with his offense, a lot of times, if you see even against Gaucher, not as a demon puncher as Murtalaya, but you know, he'll be right in front of them. He'll be playing and toying with the guard, peeling like that, and they'll give him. They're giving him too much respect. Backram didn't give him that, and that's why he was struggling to lead a little bit. He's struggling to counter. So if he'd have just stuck to what he's better at, which is counter punching, and wait for his moments, he would have had a way better time. And then maybe, you know, just it all comes down to the fight game plan. A, B, C, D, and E. It was just an A. A, go and beat him up. That's it. And that is shocking at that level. Now, there's been some people come out saying, oh, the matchmaking's bad. And it's like, you do realise that it was a world title fight, right? And it's like they obviously believed they could beat him. So it's no good saying it after the fight, because, you know, nobody was saying it was poor matchmaking before the fight. In fact, one person, this is interesting actually. The guy that I train in my gym, right? I've got a couple of clients, but several outside the gym, but some in the gym. And this guy, Jeff.
Don't load up so much. From here, just short, nice, tight, crisp shots. Boom. Yeah. Don't move your hand until you need to move it, right? If I'm moving it back like that, that's a punch tell. It's a little giveaway, right? But if I just shoot it straight from here like that, it gives you less time to respond.
He was like, what do you know about this fight this Saturday? This was on Wednesday. He's like, I know a bookie who put a lot of money on Backram. I was like, really? I was like, no way is Backram winning that fight. And he's like, oh really? I was like, yeah, because the Jack Colkay fight was the blueprint I was using, because I couldn't find anything outside of that for years. A full fight, I couldn't find anything. So obviously a lot of people saw the Colkay fight and this guy's going to get washed from, Tszyu's going to wash this dude. That's what everybody was thinking. Timothy Bradley came out and said it. World champion. Loads of people. I didn't see one person pick Backram except for this bookie who's an insider. And he put loads of money on Backram in that week. And he was like, because he likes to gamble too, Jeff does. And if anybody wants to box, by the way, I've got a new channel. I'll leave the link up here. It's teaching beginners. So, you know, go check that out. But so yeah, that was the only person I knew. But back to the training team. I've been going on tangents a little bit. I'm trying to fill in the gaps from people were asking me in the comments, and I've been trying to talk about some of the stuff that come up in the comments as well as this new team, because the question is, if he does get a new team, or even if that is a situation, which I'm obviously again very tentative to really kind of go get rid of them, because I feel for them. Because, you know, as a coach myself, not anywhere near, I don't teach fighters to fight. I have, but I'm still in it, and I know coaches that have, and I know coaches that that have left them, and I know how much work they've done, and they're gutted when that happens. Seriously, it really is. It's like oh man, I'm not good enough for you. All right, cool. And it's a shame, but at the same time, it's got to be what's best for him. That's the bigger picture. And what's best for him, I think, is definitely fresh eyes and a new opening. He's talking about moving to America. So really and truly, you'd want an American coach. So anybody throw some suggestions out there, and I'm all ears, because I've got one or two, I think, that just come to mind. He's going to be in Florida. Now, Ismael Salas, a legendary Cuban coach. You might think, what, Cuban? That's a weird style but he doesn't really just coach Cuban style. He's coached many fighters, from Brian Mendoza to Joe Joyce to Dennis Ugas. Like, he's dealt with lots of styles, but it's not just him, it's his character. See, Tim Tszyu's got to gel and bond with someone with good character, who's a good person, and it's got to be a mutual thing there. I think these are just my opinions. As always, you know, I'd love to hear from you guys, but I don't really I say I don't. I just try to give my honest thoughts, and you know, I'm not always right. I'm just speaking freely from the heart, and I think being located in Orlando, if that's where he wants to be, then it might be a good idea to get a trainer that lives there and that knows the area and that can get you a lot of sparring and that knows other people that can, you know, get gyms connected with sparring and stuff like that. Because there is some good sparring down in Miami or South Florida or, you know, wherever. If he's going to be in Orlando, that's in the middle. But, you know, what I'm saying is it's not just the connection of the person. It's not just what they know, what they can teach you. Obviously, those things are massively important. But what connections do they have? What sparring are you going to get? You know, do you like them? Do you connect? And I like Salah. He's a legend. I really do. I think he can teach him from some defensive, like when Tim Tszyu leads offensively, he's not thinking about anything else. And when you watch Salah, where he trains his fighters, they're like, bam, bam, like that, head movement, boom, boom, bang. He could add that to his game. He could add some footwork to his game. You know, when he's having his own way and he's got his footwork on him, he's closing the shut, cutting the ring off. His footwork's good for that, but could it improve with, you know, maybe boxing off the back foot if he ever needed to, fighting in the clinches if he ever needed to? These are things you got to start adding as a world level fighter to get, you know, to make sure that you don't get unstuck in fights. But as I said, that wasn't really the way he normally fought, so it's hard to criticize something when it was clearly the wrong game plan. So I'm just speaking out loud. But Ismail Salas came to mind. Breadman Edwards, Caleb Plant's trainer, Philadelphia based. He is an excellent trainer. I really like him. He's a teacher, all right, real teacher. And his takes on boxing, I've followed him for years, are great. He really knows the sport. He knows the area. And I think he's done great for Caleb Plant. He's got a bunch of other guys in Philadelphia, but very wise, cool dude as well. As I said, it's got to be compatible, and I think he would be a good choice for me, just because I know I've been watching those trainers more. There's probably loads of others that I'm not thinking of. Let me know if you think of any. I know, like, I can't imagine he would have a trainer based in Australia if he was moving to America, right? So it's interesting. It is interesting. I think, given obviously now the fact that he did probably pick up some kind of damage, whether it's you know, psychological or not. I don't care how tough you are. You fight 10 rounds with a bloody wound on your head, and you're losing all that blood, and then you take an L. It's like, you know, as tough as he is, it must have affected him to some degree. And obviously, the people are saying he had post PSD, but I kind of half agreed, but also I didn't really know. Like, I'm like that. I don't know. You know, it's it wasn't great to see him do that, but at the same time, kind of got past it quickly, or did he? Maybe he just felt an urgency from that. It's hard to say. I'd love to hear an interview with him. Actually, I know he did one recently where he kind of spoke about, you know, his dad, and he sounded upbeat, and he's a real warrior, man. He'll be back. He's got to be back a bit more intelligently. That's all. And then, are there any trainers that you can think of? You know, another one crossed my mind, which is not really going to happen. But Canelo's trainer, Eddie Reynoso, teach him some real extra defensive moves, especially in the pocket, mid-range. And he's got a very similar style to Canelo. Let's be honest. The only thing is, you wouldn't want to go in there and not be the top guy. You know, I mean, maybe there's enough room. I know Tio's gone over there now. I don't know if Tio's with Eddie Reynoso, or whether he just trained with Canelo. I saw the footage, but you don't want to be in there and be second fiddle, really, unless there's enough time Reynoso's got. That's a bit of a long shot. I'm not really pinning my flag to it. I just think some of the stylistically, they have similar styles. They walk forward with that high guard. They're very calculated, patient, counter punchers, pressure fighters, you know. He could learn a lot from Canelo. Let's be honest. Just those three just came to mind. But yeah, I do think it's going to be an important decision to make, because at the highest level, he wants to obviously fight at the highest level and fight the best, and we love that. You're going to need these extra little wrinkles. I think time is probably right about now, because he's probably going to, I'd imagine, go back to Australia and have a couple of local lesser opposition fights, get his confidence back, get the wins back, get that going. But then let's just say he does do that and stays with Igor and keeps learning the same things, and then he gets put back in at the top level. Is he gonna be making those mistakes again where he just wasn't prepared mentally? You know, very you know, some people called it arrogant. I forget that guy's name that said it, but it wasn't him, that's for sure, in terms of his approach and the way he fought. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you guys are well. As always, if you made it this far, thank you very much. Hit the like button, and if you are new, hit the subscribe button. I'm all over the place. I'm based in America, so I make a lot of videos, but I've you know, I've been getting a lot of love from the Aussies down under, and I make my videos with passion and love, and it's all from the heart, you know, and it's all for the best of the fighters, really. But I've got a ton of different stuff coming out soon, but for now, I'm out. Peace.
So that right hand, right? One of the reasons why it's coming in at an angle like that is the starting point is a little bit out here. So if you tuck it a little bit in like that, get a good stance, turn it and shoot it straight, it usually fixes the problem. Much better. Yeah. Boom. See the difference? It's gonna, when you start off like that, it's really hard to fight against that. But when you start like that, boom, it's exactly. Right, don't lean in so much. Right, turn the punch over. Do it again. You see the little difference though? Your elbow was out here, and it's gonna make the punch come out there. But you get it tighter, a little bit tighter, you're gonna force it to do the straight out. Boom, there you go. Yeah. Right.
Boxing.